Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another Genshin Impact video. Splice Citrus here, and today's video I'm going to be discussing why I retract my previous statements about Kazuha. So I made a pre-release video of Kazuha when we had some samples of his kit and what he was going to be able to do. Wasn't really impressed then, but I decided to give him a try anyways and give him a pull. Ended up getting him, and I'm really glad that I did. I have him built currently as a support. I don't have any plans to build him as a DPS. I think he shines mostly as a support role. The E ability that pulls enemies in is just absolutely tops for the primary DPS characters that I currently have. So I've got 975 elemental mastery so far. Pretty good number. I'm not really looking to get it any higher. It's not going to get much higher, honestly, just marginally at best. But at this rate, 524% increased swirl damage. Pretty nice. So up next, I've got the Iron Sting, which is just a basic blacksmithing sword. Refinement rank 1, of course, because the Infusion Stinger doesn't do much for me, but the Elemental Mastery is built right into the sword, so this was a clear choice. Up next for the artifacts, I'm just using the 2-piece Wanderer's Troop for the increased Elemental Mastery. I could go 4-piece Noblesse and get that extra bonus damage from using my ult, but I decided to go for the Mastery instead. So up first we got the helmet, primary stat of Elemental Mastery, 187. And then for the goblet, once again, Elemental Mastery. Elemental Mastery on the sands as well. And then, of course, I can only do attack on the feather, but I do have Elemental Mastery as a substat. And then finally for the flower, once again, HP primary, but I do have Elemental Mastery and Elemental Recharge as substats. So let's go ahead and take a look at the talents here. I'm not going to go over all of them, but just going to go over why building Kazuha as a support makes sense. So of course we've got the Summon Swordship here. If Kazuha's E comes in contact with Hydro, Pyro, Cryo, and Electro when cast, it will absorb that element, and if you use the plunging attack before the effect expires, it will deal an additional 200% attack of the absorbed elemental type. Up next, we've got the Poetics of Fubutsu. Upon triggering a swirl reaction, Kazuha will grant all party members a 0.04% elemental damage bonus to the element absorbed by the swirl for every point of elemental mastery he has for 8 seconds. Bonuses for different elements obtained through this method can coexist. So that means his E has a cooldown of 6 seconds, so I could actually cast it a second time before that 8 seconds buffs ends, and I could get another element that way. Or, furthermore, I could also cast the ultimate and get a swirl reaction that way with a different element and get buffed that way as well. So that's what it means when it says that 2 types of these buffs can coexist. It's not that you can trigger 2 different kinds of elemental swirls with the same swirl reaction, because you can't, but you can stack those swirl buffs by using multiple swirl attacks. So let's go ahead and take a look at Kazuha on the field here. I absolutely love that E ability. I never ever use it with the hold variant. Not only does it increase the cooldown, but it increases the damage it does, or it actually and it increases the AoE of the damage as well. But like I said, I built my Kazuha completely as support, so I wasn't worried. I'm never worried about doing more damage with that attack necessarily. But I have used Kazuha pretty much since I pulled him, and he is an absolute destroyer of those Abyss Mage shields. you get some of those daily commissions spreading evil where there's always an Abyss Mage and 4 Hilichurls. And it's always particularly fun when it's a Hydro or a Cryo Abyss Mage, and there's always a campfire nearby, or there's a pile of burning sticks, and you can instantly melt those Abyss Mage shields using just the E alone on Kazuha. So that swirl is just absolutely insane. It was definitely a step in the right direction when Milio decided to buff that swirl damage.
Wind strike. Clouds high. The birds call.
Where's that come from? Beg for mercy.
I mean, it's not a ton of damage, but it definitely adds up. All that ticking damage from his ultimate just really adds up.
Think you can bully me? Here to play with me.
Pull those enemies in, pop the ult,
Flood of frost.
get that Eula ult in there as well. Once again, pull those enemies together, pop the ult on Kazuha here, get that ticking elemental damage in there.
Beg for mercy. More speed. Shudder.
Eula definitely isn't the best character to pair with Kazuha, as that buff from his passive talent only buffs the element type. So Eula's obviously primarily physical, but... And lastly, let's take a look at just some of the mobility enhancements here. This is just absolutely fantastic. You can glide almost indefinitely. Not quite so. You will sink a little bit further than you can rise back up again, but being able to cast that E ability while gliding is absolutely amazing, especially for exploration. Definitely came in handy a lot, grabbing those really tricky Electro Oculus and so on and so forth. It's just a super, super handy feature of his kit. The mobility alone is actually why I pulled him in the first place. So like I said, I retract everything I said about Kazuha previously. You definitely can't judge a book by its cover. I'm glad I pulled this unit. Anybody else who pulled Kazuha as well, let me know what your favorite aspects of this character are down in the comments. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you for the next one.